If you're like most people, you probably aren't too concerned about the news you consume. Maybe you don't actively seek out quality reporting. After all, finding good sources can require time that you just don't have in your everyday life. Many people, especially young people, get their news from social media. According to the Pew Research Center, adults aged 18 to 29 frequently get their news from social media sites. Meanwhile, a study in the International Journal of Communication found that young people regularly hold a quote unquote news find me attitude, which they do not actively seek out the news and instead stay informed through passive social media use. Now, that's a pretty obvious problem, and it makes clear that a healthy news diet should involve better news. The diet also necessarily requires that you consume and pay for local news. My name is Carson Oyer, and in this video I say I'm going to walk you through why to subscribe to local news and how you can start that process today. If you're like me, you're used to a constant barrage of horrible headlines involving the latest bad news. While that can be unavoidable at times, I'm here to tell you that being an informed citizen doesn't mean you have to be notified every time something awful happens. Instead of devoting yourself to consuming the broad national news, I think you should focus more on local news. Here's 4 reasons why, according to the Agora Journalism Center at the University of Oregon. First, local news is generally more trusted than national news. While trust in national outlets has decreased over the years, local news producers have retained higher levels of trust. Second, local news is important for civic participation. If you think about how important national outlets like CNN, The Washington Post, and CBS are during the federal election season, just imagine how much more important local outlets are for the wide range of elections and other civic engagement opportunities on the state and municipal level. Not only does subscribing to local news boost your own knowledge of local politics and empower you to make your voice heard, but supports the entire news operation that makes that possible for your community overall. Third, local news plays a direct role in keeping elected officials accountable. As local newspapers decline, studies have shown that incumbents enjoy greater advantage over challengers, protecting potentially corrupt politicians from being voted out. At the same time, fewer reporters in a city or town has also resulted in politicians making selfish decisions that only benefit them, knowing that the public is uninformed about their actions. Fourth, local news helps elevate a smaller community's issues to larger stages. National outlets can't pick up a story they don't know exists, so they depend upon local news to show them what deserves their attention. But maybe you're wondering right now, why should I pay for my news? Why can't I just pay attention to my local news TV station or read the stories from my local newspaper, and why isn't that enough? To that I say, when was the last time you did something for free? Reporters have to be paid if they're going to produce valuable work, and outlets need to bring in revenue to keep their reporters employed. Without subscriptions, your local newspaper may be forced to lay off the staff that's keeping you informed. And that's a process that's already begun. According to the Metal Spiegel Research Center at Northwestern University, 20% of all U.S. newspapers have gone out of business or merged into others in the past 15 years. It's no secret that the journalism industry is struggling to make ends meet at the present moment. However, many outlets, like the Arizona Republic, have begun to paywall their most important work. While this can be annoying at first, remember that these outlets do have people to pay and can't give away all of their coverage for free. In the same way that you pay for basic utilities, paying for the news is another service that just improves your life. I promise that it's worth it to stay informed. Now, if you're interested in starting, I have a few options prepared for you, especially if you are more of a politics junkie like I am. Firstly, I highly recommend the Arizona Agenda. That's a Substack that includes all the news you need to know about what's happening in the state. You also might want something a bit more general, in which case I would recommend AZ Central and the Arizona Republic. If that's not quite your speed, you will probably like the Phoenix New Times, and you might also like the Arizona Capital Times if you're interested in political reporting at the state level. All in all, it's extremely important not only to stay informed, but to support the local journalism industry. I encourage everyone to ensure that they put their money where their mind is and subscribe today. Thank you.